Hey guys, welcome to day 3 of 21 of speaking about things I want to speak about. I'm supposed to do these in one take, but this is my second take because my kid started running in here and screaming. I didn't think you guys would want to hear that. So today I'm going to be covering visualizations. And I was going to cover philosophy with a teammate, but someone had written to me today. And so I figured I'd adjust and address this because this is something I wanted to speak about eventually anyway. Right. And so visualizations are essentially my secret to success. I'm going to stop trying to touch the desk. I can see it shaking on the camera. My number one secret to success. And if you ask anyone who has accomplished anything really, really big in their life, they first saw it in their mind and then they made it happen. And today I'm going to be going not only how it's impacted my fights, but also how to do it. So, I guess I can go in the way I kind of started was I read a book called Thinking Body Dancing Mind. If you don't have that book, there's a lot of other ones that go into it. That's just the one I read, the one my dad referred to me, and it's really made all the difference. So the first step, if you haven't done this before, or if you're used to meditating, people who meditate kind of know how to get into that deep relaxed state, which is great. But a lot of times in meditation, they just let the thoughts run free, right? But we're not doing that. We're harnessing our thoughts to make our performance better. So the first thing to do is to see if you can hold an image in your mind or a scene in your mind for a long enough period of time. And with social media and TikToks and Reels and YouTube Shorts, the attention span is super short. And so I wanted to make sure I could do it in actual time. So what I would do is I would imagine a chest protector or a Hogu and count in my head for 120 seconds. And if I screwed up at any point in time, I would open my eyes, take a deep breath, close my eyes, and try again. And so what you're looking for is being able to hold an image for 120 seconds because that's how long a round is. And so this is something you guys can try. And before you actually close your eyes, I want you guys to think about this. So try this small activity to kind of see where you're at. I want you to close your eyes, pause the video, close your eyes, and imagine fighting the best person you can think of in the game right now. That might be Lee Dae-hoon, that might be Jinsei Obey, or Alessio, or whichever one of these top dudes you're going to be. Just imagine fighting them in first person. So you're really standing across from them in the ring. Now pause the video, close your eyes, take 30 seconds, try doing that. Okay, so hopefully you came back from the video. Open your eyes now, and I want you to think about a few things. Number one, we're able to hold the whole image in your head for that 30 seconds or however long you did the round against them. Think about it. Were you distracted? Did your mind go somewhere else and then come back? If it did that, you need to be practicing holding that image in your mind for a longer amount of time. Number two, and this is kind of the major one, is when you're fighting them first person, or when you were fighting them first person, did you win your match? Were you winning against the world's best? And a lot of times people will say, no, they didn't. But here's something to think about. What does that mean to you psychologically? That means in your mind, where you control every variable, like in your mind, you are God. You can make their feet stand still. You can make them run in slow motion. You can make it so they're only on one leg, that they don't have any arms. Like, you are God and you control all the variables. And even while being God, you still lost. So psychologically, what do you think that means subconsciously? Obviously, that means that you don't believe you can win. And so what I want you guys to do, for those of you who are going to follow this, I think it's like 3 or 10% of people who actually listen are really going to implement. So for those of you who are going to implement, it's important that you think about, or you're able to hold the image in your mind. Number two, you have to win every scenario first person. And I mean, like if you're sparring someone in your mind and you lose an exchange, you need to freeze that frame, rewind it, and replay it again where you come out on top. And every time it happens, a negative outcome happens one time, you need to reverse that and win 7 times to undo that one. And then you keep fighting and keep fighting. And so when you're going to tournaments and stuff, it's not only to get tournament experience, but what I would do at tournaments is I would remember the images of what it was like to be fighting that person. When I got scored on, what did the kick look like? What did the initiation part of that sequence look like? What did it look like when the kick was coming up? What did it look like when it got past my guard? So that way I can go home, close my eyes, visualize, think about and train my mind to read that and then adjust. Think about in my mind, how would I beat that? How would I slide back? Would I angle to the side? Would I exchange or do a double up on one side? And think about how to beat that scenario. And you just do that over and over and over again until your game gets more and more refined. Now, that's kind of like, I guess, level 1. Level 2 is you can start doing this and practice kicks that you don't normally practice. So I use this to develop my jump left leg back kick. I use this for my left leg to the face. A lot of my left leg was developed in my mind because my left leg would be injured or whatever reason. So you can use it for that. And then the last thing I'll leave you guys with this is in your mind, make it harder than in real life. So the story of this is, when was this? This was, I think back in 2008, 2009, I had the benefit of training with James Howe. And James eventually reached number 7 in the world. I think he may have reached higher, but this guy was really good. I think he was a reigning national team member for like 7 years. Like, I don't know, it was a long, he was on top in the US for a long, long time. And I had the benefit of training with him. And what really amazed me was he had come back from a training camp from Florida, and I was holding paddles for him. And his first off the line kick, his first back leg kick, hit the pad. But I remember thinking to myself, like, I didn't see the kick. Like my eyes could physically not see the kick. That's how fast he was kicking. And then the same thing with doubles. He was doing doubles or bullet kicks. I was going 1, 2, 1, 2, and I couldn't see the kicks. And it really like shocked me to the amount of speed that he had. And so what I did was I stole that imagery and I put it in my own mind. So from then on, whenever I was training against someone or training for a tournament, I always imagined that my opponent was kicking so fast that I could not see the kicks. And so I had to react on small movements. If I saw that means it's go time, like right away. And so that's another layer. You can add or tweak that however you want. But I think 2009 onwards, after watching James in that specific scenario, I stole that idea and I used that for all my visualizations. And I used to visualize, the amount of times I visualized was, I used to visualize in the morning, at least 1 or 2 fights, and I visualized at night, at least 1 or 2 fights. And one of the big ones that came to fruition was when I made the 2009 Collegiate USA team, was I'd eventually beaten the current national team member. And my dad had said, like, you know, like, you just made national team, why aren't you more happy? But what my dad didn't really know was prior to this, I'd fought the same guy in my head morning, noon, and night, twice every single time for the last 2 months. And so I'd fought him like essentially a couple hundred times already. And so in my mind though, he's moving as fast, like I'm in the welter heavyweight like division. I'm like over 80 kilograms. And in my mind, he's supposed to be moving at someone who's at like fin weight, like minus 55 or whatever fin weight is. And so in my mind, he was a lot stronger and a lot faster than when I had actually beaten him. And so I explained that to my dad. And I think that's kind of, my dad still remembers that to this day, that I had fought him a couple hundred times before that actually happened. I gotta cut this video short. My kid's starting to lose it outside. Stay tuned for next time, guys. See you in day 4.